Hi Homeworthy, I'm Wesley Moon and welcome to my house in Fire Island Pines.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. To shop items inspired by this and other Homeworthy episodes, be sure to check out the product links below for amazing furniture, accessories, and more.
Hi, I'm Wesley Moon. I'm an interior designer based in New York with projects all around the country. You're currently at my home in Fire Island Pines. I found the house because my next door neighbors are actually my longtime friends, and I'd been searching for a house in Fire Island for quite a while. And they said, why don't you look at the house next door? And I'd never really thought about it, just because it seemed like it was just a much bigger and fancier house than I ever wanted. But once they brought me over here, I fell in love. The thing is, the owners I bought it from were the original owners that built the house, and they loved it. And they didn't want to sell, but they had to because one had a health issue and they were afraid of being out here on the island where you can't get medical attention so quickly. So they had actually turned down 2 previous buyers because they didn't think they would take good care of the house. And so my friends actually acted as my referrals, called them up, said, hey, Wesley Moon's here, he's interested in your house. And they knew me from an article that Arc Digest had done about the restoration of a Norman Jaffe house in the Hamptons. And so they thought, this guy will take care of our house. And I had dinner with them in the city and we hit it off and they let me buy it. So as you come in, you go up the boardwalk, which of course boardwalks are indicative of Fire Island Pines. We're surrounded by rhododendron, we have climbing hydrangea, and normally there's a lot more flowers going on. We're a little late in the season. The rhododendron have the most beautiful hot pink flowers, and then we have the hydrangea over here, which are normally white. Some of them, sometimes they fill in as pink. The garden is obviously a mature garden and something that the original owners started 40 years ago. But I came and filled in a few more trees along the front fence for a little more privacy, and then did the rocks and the rock paths instead of having just mulch. I'm dreaming of the day when I find the right sculpture. I want the right big sculpture to sit here among the ferns, but haven't found it yet. If there's any artists out there that want to send me some proposals. So then as you walk up to the house, you get to the main entry. I also love the way that the house sort of is a little hidden when you first walk in the gate, and as you come up around the curve, it sort of reveals itself a bit more. So the front facade of the house is a bit more serious. It's a bit more serene. It's got that business in the front, party in the back, so I call it the mullet house. But I like that the front of it can be a bit more imposing, and it really gives a sense of privacy. But then once you're inside and once you're in the back, then you can loosen up and like really let your hair down and have a good time. So here we are just in the entry when you first walk in the house. The house is very open in the public space. So as you come in, there's just, little entry table, staircase up, and then you arrive in the double height living room. This is my favorite part of the house because it's not a very big house in terms of footprint, but it's got a lot of volume. So this is where you have like these really high ceilings, about 22 feet high, and this giant skylight up here. So we have light in here all day long. And I also love the round window that's up here above the fireplace. This is the wood wall that was here when I bought the house, and it's something that I just really love and that I would have done myself. I think it's just an amazing sense of scale. I love the horizontal lines and how that like plays against the verticality of it. So this is a place where we actually really only sit in the shoulder seasons, run the fireplace when it's a little chilly outside. Otherwise, we basically live outside. But everything in this house, I didn't want anything to be precious. So even this is a beautiful like Pierre Frey indoor-outdoor fabric. The rug also indoor-outdoor. So I wanted it to look sophisticated and nice and pretty, but at the end of the day, still to be a beach home that can be lived in and used. So the coffee table in the living room is actually original to the house, and it was something that I loved and I kept. It's vintage Lauren Marsh, so it's actually a really nice piece of furniture. But this also serves as a stage. You can easily take everything off. Anytime that we do any like costume parties, we clear this off, and this is where we take all of our pictures. People have been known to get up here and dance a little bit. Very sturdy table. And then it's just full of things that I love. This is a cactus that a dear friend of mine brought first time he came to visit out here. So the orchid is a really funny story because I'm not usually an orchid person. I mean, of course they're beautiful, but it wouldn't always be my flower of choice. But when I came to see the house the first time, they had all the light switches labeled. There's over 91 light switches in this house. I don't know why, so I ended up putting it on a Lutron like system I control with my phone. But originally, each light switch had a little label on it. And one of the labels said orchid light. And I was like, and I realized there was one switch that controlled just one light up there that was made to shine down on the orchid. So because of that, I've always held up the tradition of the house of having an orchid in this spot with the orchid light on it. Here I have what I call my adult yearbook. So I made this book for the first 2 years that I owned the house for me and my friends. And it's basically just pictures of all the fun that we've had here in the house. And then this book was left to me by the previous owners. And this one shows the pictures of the house when it was being built. So they left the construction photos. There's one I really like. Look at this. This is what the house looked like while it's being built. These were the previous owners, Russell and Eddie. Great guys. And like, I love this progression of the house being built. So yeah, they left me this whole notebook of pictures, which I love. And then of course I have Interior Designers at Home by Stephen Crafty, which by the way shows the apartment in the city where you can tell, if you didn't see the previous Homeworthy, is a very different space. This piece of art I think is amazing. So this is by a Greek artist. He's a painter, but this is actually a photograph. His name is Michalis Goumas. And I love it because it makes me think of like an Italian Renaissance ceiling, but it's really just a picture of naked guys in a pool, which that's Fire Island, it's fun. And then over here is Falco. So this was an owl that got famous, it was in Central Park. And so my dear friend, next door neighbor, Ron Treskin, who is a graphics artist and he does screen printing now. So he made prints of Falco. So this is actually spring, it's got a green background, but he did all 4 seasons with different color backgrounds. And so I love this piece right here. So these fish sculptures, interestingly enough, I bought this one many years ago, back when I had that same first apartment out here. It's by a sculptor named Glenn Wildgus, and he's actually a local artist, lived in Fire Island for a very long time. And so when I got this place and I had the 2 niches, I actually commissioned him to make a companion fish on the other side just for this other niche. And so that's where that one came from. So if you've never been to Fire Island, a lot of people have some preconceived notions about it. Really, Fire Island is a 32-mile long island that's only about 3/4 of a mile wide. There's 13 different communities on the island, and they're all very, very different. So a lot of people think about Fire Island as being an LGBT island. And so there are 2 communities, the Pines, which is where I live, and Cherry Grove, which are both predominantly gay. And people oftentimes just think of, particularly the Pines, as like partying and people just here to like share houses and having fun. But the great thing that I love is there's actually a wonderful community of homeowners. Many people have owned their homes, like my neighbors, that have been here for 40, 50 years. And so there's this wonderful community of people that have dinner parties, and they're just much more low-key, and it can actually be a place of refuge and quiet if that's what you choose. But if you want to go out and party, that's here too. It's kind of a choose-your-own-adventure sort of place. So this is the dining area. This gets a lot of use. This is really a gathering place for me and all my friends, and you can fit 14 to 16 people at this table if you really want to. So the table also vintage Lauren Marsh that came with the house that I wanted to keep, and it was in pristine condition when I got it, but now it's a little scratched up, but that's what I love about it. It's like shows that we actually use it. We have dinner parties here, we enjoy it, and so I don't mind. It's like a leather jacket. Like over time, it's gonna just continue to patina, and I think eventually it'll just look like it's supposed to be that way. These are vintage Dongia chairs that I recovered in this fun little fabric, so they just seem to go perfectly here. When I first got the house, these were just two recessed light fixtures that were over the dining table, and I wanted a chandelier, so I worked with Bright Brown to create this great rope. It's like a woven, like crocheted sort of rope and hand-blown globes. So it's kind of fun, very beachy, but still I think very sophisticated to use as the chandelier. That's just a light sculpture that I found that's from the 80s, and so I kind of love that that's like the same age as the house, and it's like a totally different vibe, but I like that. So this area is really just, I call it the family room, the den. We just really hang out here if we're ever watching TV, which is very rare out here, but sometimes you just want a chill night. But that is my Let's Have a Kiki sign, which I bought originally for the co-op that I had here before, the studio. And that was back in 2013 when Let's Have a Kiki was the song of the summer. But it's still appropriate today. So whenever the sun goes down, it starts getting dark in here, click, Kiki sign comes on, and it's time to have a drink and have some fun. So I love this lamp. So it's by my friend Benjamin Weiner of Coco Bolo Gallery. And I sort of commissioned it, and when I saw it, I thought it looked like something that had been like drug up from the sea. But then someone came in and said it looks like COVID, and I'm like, okay. But so it's my COVID lamp, and I own it, and I love it. And this is a vintage chair that I found on First Dibs, which I just thought was really funky, but it's actually so much more comfortable than you actually think it would be. I could hang out here for a good solid 10 minutes. This table is from Demuro Das. So they normally sell this table, but I custom added this shelf to the bottom, which I just wanted extra place for books. The house is not like, it's really brilliantly designed when it comes to storage, but there is still limited storage in the house. This wall is a really cool example though of the time gone by, right? Because this was originally, these doors open up and pocket back for a TV, but like it's so deep because it was for one of the old-fashioned deep TVs. And then this is all like the electronics equipment, but I kept the old cassette player, but they also have, you know, I have it's a little messy in there, but there's the record player, cassette player, and like CD player, all that fun stuff. But this thing, when I got it, was full of like big chunky electronics. And they had like the subwoofer door and all of that stuff. So I use mostly that for storage, but in there I have my Sonos that just plays throughout the house. So right here in the middle of everything is the kitchen. So this is like a chef's dream, I guess. I'm not a chef, but a lot of my friends are really good cooks. One in particular is an amazing cook, shout out to Rob, who really uses this space and turns out amazing dinners. One fun thing that I did was I added this sliding window in here so that you could easily open up and get to the grill back there, which we should have took the cover off. But so it's easy to pass through to the grill because before you had to go all the way around. Induction cooktop, and then the key to any sort of beach house or house for entertaining is 2 dishwashers, constantly like switching off between the 2. So yeah, the big kitchen over here for him to cook in, and then this area for people to hang out and talk and be out of the way. So it's nice to have the 2 islands. So in the kitchen, I really loved the finish on the original cabinet. So I kept that. All I did was change the countertops. I did this quartzite material, which is super durable. It's beautiful. It feels kind of beachy to me, but you can literally cut a lime on it and it's totally fine. So I wanted that kind of resilience out here. And then I also put in new faucets and plumbing fixtures. But other than that, there wasn't a lot of updating to do in here because it was so nice to begin with. The house was in pristine condition when I bought it because, as I said, the previous owners took perfect care of it. But there were rooms like the bathrooms and the kitchen that needed some updating. So I wanted to respect the original style of the house, but also have to put a little bit of my own stamp on it. Now, people often think of me for maximalism, particularly people that know or have seen the previous Homeworthy on my place on Park Avenue in the city, that it is definitely a maximalist sort of place and very colorful and very precious, where here I wanted the exact opposite. I wanted it to be relaxed and feel like you're at the beach and just be able to entertain and fill it with my family and friends and not have too much stuff around. For me, I understand for some people there still may be some stuff going on, but for me this is very simple and pared down. So I wanted to respect that postmodern aesthetic, but also bring it up to date and to make it also feel very beachy without feeling sort of Golden Girls, which was a little bit of the previous vibe. So I really felt like this house had a bit of a French Caribbean vibe, and I know here we are in the Northeast, but with the Carolina shutters that were already here, and I really like the feeling of that, and just sort of the openness. It kind of has that sort of, or almost like you're at the Bahamas. And so I wanted to play into that, but then also bring some of the Fire Island bohemian flavor to it as well. So it's really a mix of a lot of different things that I believe makes it very me, but also just makes it comfortable for everyone that comes. So right off the entry when you first walk in here is one of my guest bedrooms. So this guest room is, I love this room because it actually originally was the gym for the previous owners. So they had this wall mirrored, and so we kept that intact and just did wallpaper and drapery and light fixtures and turned it into a bedroom. But again, I think this is a great example of how this house feels so big because of like the double height space in the living room and the openness of the entertaining area. But the guest rooms are intimate and small, and that's fine out here. You should just be in your room to sleep. Otherwise, get out, go have some fun or get in the sun. So this wallpaper is made out of woven bark and leaves, and I love the tropical kind of vibe that it gives, but still also elevated and sophisticated. Artwork wise, I have original Calder print, and I love it right there because when you walk in the front door, bam, you see it, and it adds a good pop of color to the room. And then also this room has its own sliding glass door that leads out to a little deck, so a guest could choose to even come and go via that doorway. So for lighting in here, again, end tables weren't very big, so I wanted sconces, but we had the mirror, so I found these wonderful hanging lanterns from Palachek. Again, they're like a woven raffia that's dyed, and they make these beautiful little, I like the way they hang from these. So it's casual, but still elegant and chic. This is a bone inlay table and woven leather headboard. And then this light fixture up here, I had custom made by Bone Simple, and it's sort of a plaster kind of paper mache situation that I think is so cool. And then downstairs I also have a guest bathroom that I'll show you. So this guest bath I call the cabana bath. One reason is because it has an exterior door that opens directly outside, so if someone's at the pool, they can easily just pop right in here and you don't have to go through the house all wet. But it also has a shower. Now originally this room had like red granite floors and just plain white walls, and I brought in the idea of doing this Cerussed oak on the walls and this beautiful Ansax tile. And then over here in the sink area we have a new marble top, and I found this vintage mirror with the ceramic tiles around, and I just thought it was the perfect little thing to have. So I selected these floor tiles from Ansax, and I like them because they kind of have a tatami mat sort of feeling to them, but really it's because they're textured, and so if anyone's coming in wet from the pool, it prevents them from sliding down. So it's practical and beautiful. This is a really great print from a local artist here in Fire Island. His name is Arson, And it's obviously Poseidon, but in some sort of abstract way. I don't know, I really love it. That was beautiful. So here in the entry, there's this console with matching mirror that also are vintage Lord and Marsh. So they came with the house along with the coffee table and the dining table. But I just added drawers across the bottom because I needed a place for my sunglasses and my chewing gum and all the stuff that you need to go out. On here you will find, well, I love these little guys. I got them in Puerto Vallarta. I thought they were so cute. And then we have the Scandals book. So this is where I won't let you read, but we always have to write any scandals that happen, get written in the book with the quill. This is a great vase that I picked up, a Brooklyn artist. Sorry, I'm not gonna remember his or her name, but I really, really love the shape of it. But I also have a really strong tie to Lego because it's all I played with as a kid, was I played with my Legos. And so when they came out with Lego flowers, I just had to have them. So that's what we put in this vase, and that way they never die and they always look beautiful. So I became obsessed with Legos when I was tiny, probably 3 years old, and by the time I was 5 or 6 years old, I was building houses out of the Legos. And I used to make my grandmother take me around to like developments where they were building new houses, and I would take pictures of them with my Polaroid camera, and then I would come back and try to build them with my Legos. And it really is one of the reasons that I think I went to architecture school. So I credit Lego with that. So these flowers are just a little homage to everything that, you know, the whole reason I have this house. And I just love them. They're beautiful. So that's it for the ground floor. Let's go upstairs. So here we are on the mezzanine, AKA the catwalk. So this is overlooking the living room, that double height space. And then of course the view is breathtaking when you come up here. I love that you can just see across and see out. Get the big skylight there. So it just gives you a really nice sense of scale of the space. This is a painting that the original owners left for me. So this is actually the house when it was first built in 1988. And this was before they built the porch off the back. Originally you went into the pool from the side. You'll see when we go down there that now there's a big covered porch here, which we live on. Thank God they did that. And then they added on that family room den that I showed you onto the side. So it's kind of a time capsule to see it how it was originally. The great thing about this house, when I bought it, all the mechanical systems, everything were in perfect condition. So everything I did was purely aesthetic. My bathroom, the primary bath upstairs, also was red marble, glass block, huge jacuzzi tub, white Formica cabinets. It was just high 1980s. So while it was cutting edge when it was done, I needed to bring that up to the 21st century. So I did that with onyx floors that are honed, that give it sort of that beachy, sandy feeling, which you wouldn't think about with onyx, but wait till you see. And then I made a little water closet, did a double sink on one side, and cleaned that up. So that was one of my other big projects. The kitchen countertops I changed, but the kitchen cabinets were actually really beautiful as they were. There were these amazing wood walls up the fireplace, on that wall there, and so I wanted to keep that. So I really just, in the main part of the house, changed the paint color and updated the furniture. Over the dining table, it was just recessed lights, and I chose to do a chandelier. So, you know, things like that. In the primary bedroom, it has this amazing floating bed in the middle, which is original to the house, and again, very 80s, and I loved that. So that I kept. And up there I just did wallpaper and light fixtures and drapery. So the gut renovation, like the hard work, happened in the bathrooms, but the rest of it was pretty aesthetic and just decoration, which was really nice. So then we go into my bedroom suite. This glass block wall I left as an homage to the 80s, to that postmodern, and I really love it. And on the other side of this is my shower that we'll see in a moment, where there's a skylight, and so the light pours through, and I just love that transparency. So this is going into my bedroom. So this is my bedroom. This is one of my favorite rooms in the house because you just feel like you're on the prow of a ship It has this big round window with the perfect view, and I love that the bed is floating in the middle. This was how it originally was. This headboard slash dresser with the built-in nightstands was all here when I purchased the house. And it's perfect the way it just floats in the middle of the room. The house also has these amazing corner windows, and I feel like you really get a sense of it here, being like wrapped in the windows and the light. I love the vaulted ceiling in this room. It gives it this amazing height. And this is actually another pair of prints by my friend Ron Chereskin, which I just thought were perfect for this spot. I have some vintage pottery pieces in here mixed in with some fun shoes that get worn sometimes on the 4th of July. And this piece of art here is by an artist named Justin Goodman, and I commissioned it just for this huge wall. I didn't really know what to do with it, and I couldn't find the right piece of art, and so I worked with him, and he created this piece. And it's so cool because in person, I don't know if you can tell on camera, it looks like Venetian plaster, you know, and I think it's brilliant. I think he needs to be discovered. And then over here is a sculpture that I found in the Paris flea market. And again, I thought it's so interesting the way that this relates to Justin's piece, to Ron's piece. So it was really an unintentional theme, the way that all of these things sort of relate to each other, but I love it. It was meant to be. This round window, again, original to the house, but when I wake up in the morning, I open the shade and voila, you know, you're looking right out to the water. I can come up here, see if any of my guests are up, because I am usually the last one to get out of bed, and just kind of get a vibe of what's going on downstairs, see the weather. It's just a really peaceful way to start the day with this view. So another cool feature about my bedroom suite is that it has this private mezzanine space out here. So this is just another space that overlooks the living room. To be honest, it doesn't get used so much, but it looks really pretty from the other side. But out here, I have my own private patio. So out here I have my own private deck. It's always in the shade in the morning, so it's a great place for me to do yoga or to do my abs workout. And then it's just a beautiful place to come and look out and see what's going on. You know, you can see down onto the pool deck. I love watching the boats go by, that cool vintage ship out there. It's just a really, really peaceful place to hang out when you need to just kind of be on your own. So right here in my private mezzanine, I have this chaise by Thomas Pheasant. It's called the Kimono. Get it through McGuire. It's super comfy. And it has these really beautiful details on the end, which, I don't know, there's something kind of Roman about it, but I still love the caning on the end. So one of the other many things I love about Fire Island is that there's really very little light pollution out here, so you see a billion stars. When I first bought this house, my mom gave me this telescope as a housewarming present, so it's easy to just take it out there at night and look up and see what's going on in the universe too. So then right off my bedroom is the primary bathroom. So this room I totally got renovated. It used to have a very 80s giant jacuzzi tub. It was red marble. The glass block extended all the way around the shower. The toilet was just hanging out under the window. So I completely reorganized the plan in this space. And I used this onyx, which I know people usually think of onyx as being very fancy, but this gray onyx, when you hone it, I would argue it has a very like beachy, organic kind of feeling, and I think it's totally appropriate. I love the shower, which has, so I have double shower heads. I have the big skylight in there, and it's just a really nice way to wake up in the morning and feel like you're outside without being outside yet. And then I love the natural light of having the window over the sink, and having two sinks, of course, is paramount for any relationship. So this is the drag closet. This is where a lot of fun happens. So in here, as you can see, we just have many different wigs and headpieces to choose from. These are all outfits that have been collected from different parties, or like people come and just donate things. You know, like literally some friends came a few weeks ago and just left this caftan. Like you never know what's gonna show up. And yeah, we just keep all the stuff you need to get into a really fun outfit. And I also know if I ever find a feather in my house, someone's been in the drag closet. And then of course, ruling over the drag closet is this, which was a gag gift from someone. And that's a story for when we all have a cocktail. So yeah, all these costumes were collected over the years from different things. This was for a hat and heels party where I played my part. Her name was Lucy Stool, and she was from Palm Beach, and she was going on safari. Then of course there's like the pineapple purse that you never know when you might need that. This Amy Winehouse wig I actually used for a Dia de los Muertos bride one time. I feel like this is definitely something you need when you are gonna tell a fortune. It's also very Norma Desmond, isn't it? So, you know, this we had Pine's party theme this year was Galactic Cowboy. So we have some of these things. And then before I get any nasty comments, these are vintage furs that were part of the drag closet that came with the house. And this is also faux, by the way. Speaking of, everyone on Fire Island has drag of some sort. I don't think everyone has a closet like this, although I think there are a few people out there that probably beat me as well. So anyone that says that drag is tearing away at the fabric of our society, gays would never harm fabric. You know, one thing about this house that really shocked me when I first walked in is the fact that it felt like a house I could have designed. There literally was not anything architecturally about the house that I disliked or wanted to change. And there were so many details in here that are things that I actually do in my own practice. So in a weird way, it felt like I did design the house in so many aspects. And that's one of the other reasons I love it so much. I think my favorite thing about this house is the amount of natural light that it gets. We literally do not have to turn a single light on until the sun goes down, mainly due to this giant skylight that's in the middle of the two-story living room, and it just floods the whole space with light. All the showers have skylights in them. All of the rooms have big open, you know, sliding glass doors, and so we just open up the house every day. As soon as we get up, we open all the sliding glass doors and open the windows, and you get this wonderful breeze through it all the time. So the openness and the airiness and the light, that's just really what I love about the house. I mean, obviously there's the view, duh, but you know, can't pick them all. So speaking of outside, you need to see where we really live, which is outside. So now I've shown you inside, but now I gotta show you where we really live, which is outside. So we call this space the loggia, and this is really where we are, I would say 90% of the time. Weather permitting, even if it's a little chilly, we're gonna be out here. It's just the best way to take in the views. It's an intimate seating area. Everyone can just hang out. The number of laps we have on this porch should be illegal. It's the best place to be, and it's really where everyone just automatically comes together. So actually the furniture on this porch, these were original to the house. Like, it's amazing. They're old David Sutherland, or I should say vintage David Sutherland. They're original to the house. They're vintage David Sutherland, and I just recovered the cushions. And then this is a really nice ceramic table that I found on First Dibs. And this, her name is Joyce. She's an ashtray, and it's a Haas Brothers piece, and I just thought she was a lot of fun for any of my friends that happen to smoke. You know, I found the secret to entertaining, especially in Fire Island, is just letting everyone be themselves. Like, if someone wants to have a cigarette, they can have a cigarette. We can have drinks. Everyone can just be themselves and talk, and I love bringing together people of different age groups. I mean, that's the other amazing thing. We have people out here that are trailblazers that have been coming out here since the 60s and 70s. So to bring them together with my younger friends and to share those stories, it's really amazing. And then half the time we're not even talking about things that heavy. Half the time it's just gossip and fun and joking around. And So I just find that this is a place where people from all different backgrounds and different age groups can come together and just relax and be themselves, and that's the best part about this island. Some nights we'll just randomly have like drag contests among our friends where you have like 5 minutes to go upstairs and get in an outfit and come down, and then you get judged. So, you know, it's just a big part of the fun and a big part of the culture out here. So, coming down onto the deck, obviously we have the pool. I keep the pool at 92 degrees at all times. I'm a big baby when it comes to cold water. So we have a few sitting areas out here. So this one is obviously more of a lounge area. Sunset happens somewhere right over there. And we get the most gorgeous sunsets over the water. So we have this whole bench area out here where you can come to watch the sunsets, or right over here. Of course, we have the lounge chairs that we move around to make sure you're in the sun at the right time of the day. And then over here is the dining area where we oftentimes have brunch. And again, it's just nice to sit by the water. I mean, as you can see, there's always some kind of movement. You get the boats going by, you see the ferry when it comes in and out. But the beauty of being on the bay to me is the serenity. Of course, the ocean is gorgeous. I mean, who doesn't love being on the ocean too? But to me, that's like very kinetic energy, and it's always, you know, so much in motion. And yeah, I love that, and I love to go visit it. But here, it's always very placid and peaceful. Plus, when you're on the beach, you live in a fishbowl because the beach is a public place and people can see up into your house, you know, day and night. And here, it's very private and we don't have to worry about any of that. So I really love the peacefulness and the privacy of the bayside. So one thing I added right off the bat was a bar. So I put this baby in right after I bought the house. But back here I have the refrigerator and the ice maker, so it's just a really quick way to grab a drink. But also when I have a group of people over, I'll sometimes just hire a bartender to come and work back here and keep the drinks flowing. So this is like one of my favorite parts. But also people say it looks like a DJ booth, so I really have thought about getting that whole DJ setup back here too. In contrast to the front of the house, the back of the house is much more dynamic and interesting. The front, perfect symmetry. The back doesn't have that at all. I love the glass corners, the corner windows that are all through here in the dining room and upstairs in my room. And you can see that it actually has a bit of a gable roof up there, which is something on the front where it's totally flat, so it's totally different than that. So it is a lot more inviting and open, and it's really lending itself to the water and to the view and to the entertaining aspect of what goes on back here. So I enjoy that dichotomy between the front and the back of the house. So one story was when I had my first housewarming party here, I hired a drag queen from Cherry Grove to come over and perform. And she started her performance on the upstairs porch, and then she went to run down the staircase in the middle of the song, and I had roped off the staircase to keep people from going upstairs, and she didn't see the rope. So she completely wiped out. That was, I shouldn't be laughing, but she had on a Vegas showgirl outfit, and it was all these green feathers, and literally I found green feathers in the house for about 2 months. So then there's also another sort of tradition that they do in Cherry Grove where the drag queens at the end of their songs will oftentimes jump in the pool. Well, I had just put the brand new black pool liner in, and so my friend said to her, if you're gonna jump in the pool, you have to take your shoes off first because there's a lot of pool liners that have been damaged by high heels out here. So she was doing the performance, her final number, and she came up here to this raised porch and she takes her shoes off. And I was like, okay, so she's gonna jump in the pool. And I thought she would go down the stairs and jump in the pool. And then I realized she was jumping from here. Now, my pool is only about 4.5 feet deep at the deepest end. Not only did she not just like cannonball, she did a head first dive into the pool. Literally everyone at the party was like, oh, and I just pictured that her entire family was gonna own my house because clearly she was gonna snap her neck. But luckily she did a little shallow dive in and she just kind of bumped her head at the end, but she was fine. Came up with no wig on and eyelashes dangling off and all was good. Because of the nature of Fire Island itself, we only get to enjoy this house about 6 months out of the year. During the winter, it's closed down, water off, shut. There's no businesses, nothing. But for the 6 months that we're here, home here to me is all about friends and family and the relationships out here. I love filling this house with all the people that I love and care about. And I also love the solitude of it. I love just the way that when you get on that ferry, all your stress melts away. You're out here, you're on the water. You know, here on the bay, we have a lot of privacy and we can just hang out and relax as much as we want to. And then we have fun dinners and we just, you know, we make it whatever we want it to be. But really, it's the opportunity to spend quality time with friends and family that makes this house so special to me. Okay, Homeworthy, thank you so much for coming. It's been great to have you, but I gotta get ready for tea. Maybe get some more scandals for the book. So, see you later. Thank you, bye.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.